When people think about slavery, they think in terms of forced labor, right? Or at most, they think in terms of people as property. But what they don't think about is there's a difference between property and a capital asset. Those people were also a capital asset. All capital assets are property, but not all property is a capital asset. Okay, a capital asset means it creates revenue. Your car, if you don't use it for work, is just a piece of property that you own. But if you are an Uber driver or a taxi driver, then that car is a capital asset. It is creating revenue for you. So all of these enslaved people, they weren't just property, they were also capital assets. They were generating revenue for their slave owners to the tune of $3.5 billion in 1860s money. So if we roll that forward to today, it's like $23 trillion.
The federal government has time and time again kept its knee on Black Americans and then told us that we need to then pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. For over 400 years, I recognize that this is the 250th anniversary, but we've been here. Over 400 years, this country has stolen Black labor, Black lives, and Black futures. And at every stage, our government has sanctioned it. From slavery to Jim Crow, to redlining, to mass incarceration, to environmental racism, and to economic disenfranchisement. We're still living through those effects today.
I never understood how you can attack white supremacy, then beg for reparations from white supremacy, at the same time holding an oath to a white goddess and a Greek system instituted by white supremacy. You're not getting reparations. For thus says Yahuwah, ye have sold yourselves for nothing, and ye shall be redeemed without money. Told you in Genesis 15:13, and he said to Abram, know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years. Even the movie 10 Commandments messed this up, and there's a reason why they did that, because they wanted to throw you off the track and made you assume that 400 years was the first Egyptian captivity, and it was not. And the sojourning of the children of Yasharel who dwelt in the land of Mizraim, Egypt, and hard labor was 210 years. They were there 430 years, but they were only afflicted 210 years. So the 400 years that they're talking about is the 1619 to 2019. And y'all should already been getting over white supremacy because it was never supreme to begin with. It took an act of Yah or an act of God for us to be colonized, stripped of our humanity, stripped of our identity and heritage, for us to be beasts of burden. It had to be this way in order for us to come back to him and learn what our forefathers made a mistake in. You kind of have to read the entire chapter to understand who they were talking about in this, but it says on the 14th, we bound him, a chief demon named Mastema, that he might not accuse the children of Yasharel on the day when they asked the Egyptians for vessels and garments, vessels of silver, vessels of gold, and vessels of bronze, in order to despoil the Egyptians in return for the bondage in which they had forced them to serve. And we did not lead forth the children of Yasharel from Egypt empty-handed. So they didn't leave with coins. They didn't leave with money. They leave with substance. Genesis 15:14. And also that nation, America, whom they shall serve, will I judge. And afterward shall they come out with great substance. So it seems to me like the first Exodus will be much like the second Exodus. And you guys are sitting, especially you African-American Christians, you sit in these churches every Sunday for the last 2 or 3 years and still haven't came upon this information being taught to you. But y'all telling yourselves to be pre-raptured ready. You're not getting raptured. You rather stay here and get substance to leave when you have to leave this place. And you wouldn't want debt fiat currency anyway, especially when they're going to crash the economy. They're going to turn all paper money into digital money. You would be owing money if they paid you in reparations right now under this de-dollaration currency that you get now. So just sit back and just wait for this place to destroy itself.
When